For the most part, I think most players can agree with the fact that Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel has been very enjoyable and also has been a nice alternative to the boring format that we've had to endure for the last few years in the TCG. I mostly have positive things to say about this game, and although there are a small amount of kind of bad things that I do have to say about this game, they didn't really completely ruin my experience, so everything that I will be saying in this video is rather constructive criticism because I really want this game to succeed. Alright, so even though this isn't really the end of the world, I did run into two annoying ruling issues. Alright, so for context, when you flip a continuous trap card that also has an effect, such as Shuttle Schism, you have to declare on activation whether you are using that effect or not. So for example, if you have Shuttle Schism, you can flip the card and also immediately trigger its effect in order to fuse and summon a Shuttle monster. So if your opponent has something like Ghost Bell, you can negate the activation of Schism since all of a sudden you are trying to banish cards from your graveyard. So the Ghost Bell would be negating the Schism altogether and would be sending it to the graveyard. On the flip side, your opponent can also not use the effect of Schism on the activation and just use it on resolution or chaining right after. So if the Ghost Bell would hit the Schism, it would only be negating its effect and not the activation. Therefore, it would not be sending it to the graveyard. Unfortunately, in Master Duel, these kind of rulings are completely ignored as your opponent does not have to specify whether or not he's using the effect on the activation. It all happens in resolution, which makes absolutely zero freaking sense. Another thing that actually really pissed me off was the fact that you couldn't really use a life point payment card that matched the exact same amount of life points that you had. So everybody who is familiar with intricate rulings would know that if you have, let's say, 700 life points, you cannot flip Solemn Strike because that requires a 1500 life point payment, so you cannot legally activate the card. However, if you have exactly 1500 life points, you can legally activate Solemn Strike, and that would kill you. And of course, as you can tell, in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, that ruling was not implemented correctly, so you unfortunately cannot kill yourself. This made me really angry during the Xyz Festival because the most popular and competitive deck during that format was a self-FTK deck where the goal was to kill yourself as fast as possible, and the reason why that was actually the most competitive strategy was because whether you would win or lose, you would get a high amount of medals, and you would get 50 medals for losing, 100 for winning, so if you would actually lose very fast, you could rack up the 50 medals very fast, whereas if you would take, like, let's say 10 minutes to win a game, it wasn't really worth it if you were only getting double the amount of medals you would get from losing a game. If this game is supposed to be a correct representation of what Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually is, we can't really say that Konami did a perfect job because every single ruling should be implemented correctly, although I must admit that this is easier said than done. Alright, now that we're done with the rulings part, let's get into the real elephant in the room, which is the incentive to even play in the first place. Let's be straight up honest for just one moment. There's honestly no reason to waste your time in Platinum 1 anymore because you cannot D-rank, so even if you lose, you're not going down in the ladder, which means that the next season you cannot rank up several ranks higher, and you can't really get those free gems for getting your rank up. In other words, it just feels like if you reach Platinum 1, you already just finished the game already. And then we get poorly designed tournaments like Xyz Festival where the ban list is literally announced the day of the event in the worst way possible, by the way. They literally showed every single non-Xyz monster from the extra deck in the ban list, so if you were to look for a specific card like the pod cards, you would have to kind of go trial and error, which makes zero sense at all. And the rewards are just not unique at all. All you really get is gems and Xyz Legacy Pack tickets, which get you Tyrus, Keeper of Genesis, Crooked Crook, and that's about it. All the other cards are absolute dog shit. And of course, since they are free cards, you can't dismantle them, so if you get multiple Xyz cards, they literally achieve absolutely zero purpose. And to make matters worse, the good gems that you get only cap up to 3200 medals, so once you get past that, you start getting 20 gems per level, which is absolutely nothing because you would have to play for hours and hours and hours literally just to get like 100 gems. Imagine having to spend 5 hours of your time just to open up one pack. Deadass, the Xyz Festival looked way more like a suicide festival because people were genuinely just killing you themselves against you, so you were never really getting some real games in. These kind of tournaments at least need to give unique reasons for people to be played, such as exclusive titles, mates, background arts for your main page, unlock new music, field maps, etc. Konami has to understand that if the only good reward that you're getting from a tournament is gems, it'll just end up looking like a big chore that you have to grind for a few minutes and then you're done for the month, and then the next time you come back for something similar to this, it's going to be the exact same with zero excitement whatsoever. So my biggest ideas to fix most of these issues would be by correcting the rulings first of all to preserve the game's integrity, maybe by hiring more judges or something like that, and then of course give players more of an incentive to even play competitively past Platinum 1. I know that we're going to get more titles, or rather more badges in the future, so you can actually go past Platinum 1, which is great, but for now there is literally just no reason to even play. Again, just a friendly reminder that I still believe that Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel is a great game, and I would still give it probably a 9.5 out of 10, but of course there's always room for improvement, so we're always trying to get that missing 5%. Anyways, that's pretty much all I had to say for this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.